Candy here today, featuring the Purple Onion stamps, the new one, Fairground. It is adorable, and I am in love with all things Fairground these days. You can see here I do not have my Purple Onion stamp on cling foam yet, and I couldn't wait to play with it, so I just used my adhesive tape run and I just taped it along the edges, and then I used my Misti to ink it up, no problem. I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I use this ink for anything Copic or anything alcohol based. I can also use this with my colored pencils, and I don't have any problems with it running or smearing. I do sometimes heat set it just to ensure that it's not gonna, like it's not still wet or anything like that. Oh, you can see I missed a little bit here, so I'm just going back in and pushing in that one spot. And there we go. Not too shabby for the first time inking this one up. I didn't want to color the whole entire background, so I just got a tag and I used my Cricut to cut this out. And I'm just going to color and stamp in this small little portion, and it just makes the card kind of pop. So it's kind of like a spotlight coloring, I guess you could say, without having to color the whole thing. Just inking it up the same way that I did with the card. Perfect. We're going to move on to Billy the Goat and Pinky the Pig. He's got cotton candy. He's so stinking cute. And I'm going to use the same Memento ink to ink these guys up, and they are also not foam backed yet, so they are just taped with a little bit of adhesive tape run. I love his cotton candy. It is so adorable. There we go. Oh, the goat. So you'll see here that I have to take off Pinky the Pig because I couldn't get Billy the Goat and him to ink up at the same time. And it's not a problem. Using the Misti, it's a breeze. That or the platform, I own both. So I love being able to not have to worry about it if I need to re-ink it again. And there you go. See? Perfect. All right, now we're going to do some Copic coloring. Sorry about the glare of the light. I haven't made a video in 8 months. It's been quite some time, so I'm going to need to readjust some lighting to get things to work video friendly for you. And I've sped up the coloring process. Who really wants to sit here for the next hour to watch me color? Probably nobody, but that's okay. So we're just going to do this in high speed. You'll get the idea. I am using YR00 for the pig. I am also going to use E11 for some shading. And then I go back in with the YR00 to blend out the E11. And I will also use my Zero colorless blender to remove just a little bit of the pink. I felt he was just a little too pink for my liking, and using that Zero colorless blender just kind of mutes it just a little bit. W3, W5, and I am also going to use W7 and W1 for a little bit of shading. I wanted to give him some spots. I realized at the end he kind of looks a little bit like a cow, so I suppose you could use Billy the Goat as a cow too, but it is supposed to be a goat. I just wanted to give him some spots. He is super cute. Adding the darker towards the edges and working my way to the darkest. I go back in with the W3 to blend it all out and blend it together so it just kind of melts together. It's really, really pretty. I'm using E11 for his little horns. And I'm using the W1 for his ears. And then the E00 for some pink. And RV11 and R02. Going in with my gel pen, I'm going to warm it up on my finger just to get the ink flowing and moving. And I'm going to add some little freckle dots on their cheeks. Give them a little bit of character. Now I'm going to fussy cut them out. I know, fussy cutting, but I have to do it. I'm using C1 for some shading, and then R08 and also R27 for the color on the tents. When I think of circus, I think of red and white tents. I don't know about you, but red and white, that's what I think of. I really got to work on my lighting. There we go, and with that R27 for the darker red, just up around where those little white loops come down to give it some shading, and just a little bit at the top. Here's C3. I didn't feel that the C1 was dark enough for the shadowing on the white, so I'm just going to touch it just a little bit up underneath those little banners. And then I'm going to use my colorless blender to remove just a little bit of the darker part of it. For the grass, I am using YG03 and G07 for the little bush behind the tent. For the cloud, I am using BG10, and I also use Wink of Stella on that. For the Ferris wheel, I'm using a purple V09, and I will also be using a YR04 for an orange contrast color. Going in with a little bit of shading, YG13, just around the tent and the bush and little sprigs of grass. And adding some gray C3 to the little Ferris wheel bars. This stamp set is so fun to color. And there you go, see? A little bit of spotlight coloring. Whoop, we've got them backwards. Gotta switch them. There we go. I didn't want to color the whole entire sky, so I'm just doing dots just around the tents, just to kind of fill in that white space. And I'm going to use 2 different colored blues and then a gray. C1 for the gray, and I'm using B5 and B05 and B01. Oh, they're so cute. When I laid it on the card, I noticed that the tag was just kind of blending into the background. So I'm going to take my Holtz Distress ink tumbled glass and just a makeup blender and just going to ink up just the edges so that the tag itself just kind of pops off the card. And you can tell the difference between the tag and the card. Much better. Adding some foam dots to the back of this so that it pops up. Super simple. And lining it up just right. Yep, good. Now I'm going to add some pop dots to the backs of these little guys and put them on my card. And that's basically it for the card. Nothing else to color on this one. I used some Sizzix Thinlits to create this really fun technique that I learned from Jennifer McGuire video. You take multiple cuts of the same word and layer them together to build them up like chipboard, and then you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to get adhesive to go behind there to pop them up. So I used 3 of the same color in black, and then I felt that it needed a little bit of red, so I also die cut it out in red, and you'll see here I offset it just a little bit on the black to make it kind of pop up and stand out. See what I mean? It's tricky sometimes, especially with those longer words. With my white gel pen, I added some dots and lines at the top to make them stand out more and make them kind of look like a bubble. It's a really fun way to make things pop. There it is. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more crafty videos.